So guys, here's the legendary spherical bearing and associated piece that I've been talking about. But basically, will that only fall through one oh no. See, I bet this is war. Because if you look at it, well, I don't know, it's hard to say. The 8000 series I took this off of is very well worn, so I don't know if it should be able to do this or not, but obviously there's another one down there that it's already done that once too, so maybe that's my problem. But no, so I'll stick this up in there and I'll probably get some measurements here before I do that, and I'll go from there. Alright guys, I did double check my measurements, and here's what I'm ending up with. Excuse my nice drawing skills. Believe it or not, I actually passed drafting at Tech, but that was with a ruler. Anyhow, so the ID we're looking like is a 1/2 inch. The OD is 1 5/16, and this metal plate is about 5/8 thick. But I'm thinking the original was probably about a 1/2 inch or so. Actually, probably, because I don't know if you guys noticed the shoulder in there, so it doesn't go the whole way down through. I might just press this the whole way out just to measure it totally, but that's what I'm seeing right now. And the main reason I got the camera out, see if I can get the light just right. I think you guys can see it there. I don't know if the macro is going to kick in or not, but there you go. Basically, the right hand side is worn, the left hand side still has the groove in it. I was scratching around there trying to find a groove, and it's gone on this side. So like I thought, this bearing is not supposed to come apart like so. Actually, the one off of this is bad too, but this is my 8163-B, my beater rider, as a lot of people, as I call it, because it's just so beat up that I don't really care. I just run it. So yeah. So for right now, just to test drive this thing, I think I'm gonna take that and stick it in underneath the tractor and put a nut on it, and that'll work. Obviously, I can't drive it today anyhow. The JB Weld is still not fully hardened on the steering wheels because it was cold last night. So it's pretty stiff, but you could still I can still put a mark in it with my fingernail, and it's some pretty thick JB Weld and stuff. So we'll let it go another day. Today is Thursday. I started on this project Saturday, something like that. I don't know. Like I said, not like I work on it full time or anything. I come out and putter with it when I have time. So let me get this done. Press this the whole way out, measure it the rest of the way. I'll put that piece right there up on, however you want to look at it. Put a nut on the bottom of the steering shaft, and then, like I said, that'll be about as far as I can go, really. So I'm getting like 523 to 525 measuring this. So it's 25 thousandths over 1/2 inch. So just a little bit of useful info. And definitely a shoulder, so that only comes out of there one way for anybody doing that. I got lucky and happened to press it the right direction first. Just because this side was flush, so I figured I could just press it out a little bit and measure it. So, just happened to get lucky on that one. That makes sense, because this is the top, that way the bearing can't fall down out of it if the nut would happen to come off or something, I think is the idea. Hopefully you guys were looking at that the whole time. So anyhow, like I said, I'm going to, with these new measurements, I will hit the internet and see what I can find. And I'll go from there. As for right now, Just stick that down there and see what happens. What do you guys think? Should I put on a new lock nut, or should I just put a regular nut on and see how it works for now? Maybe I'll just put a regular nut on just till I know it'll work. Makes sense to me. Later, I'll put a lock nut on it. Don't worry. That's up on there for the time being, and that definitely... Oh, hold on a second here. I gotta move my arm around. There you go. That definitely stiffened her up a good bit. There's still a little bit of play, because obviously this one's probably worn too, because otherwise the spherical part is not supposed to come out of there. I'm assuming. So, yeah. So that's that. So guys, here's what I found out about this little, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's a bearing, but it's made by Heim. So what I found out today was, I'll spin you guys around. If you guys want to look at my ugly mug, you can. Or actually, there's a hair on the lens. My apologies, gentlemen. So, but anyhow, let's see, am I out of the light enough? I hope so. But what I found out was Heim is owned by Roller Bearing, and Roller Bearing basically doesn't give anything away for free. So, as far as getting a cheap one of these bearings here, kind of SOL. I looked on Amazon, eBay, all the major bearing manufacturers, and physically finding something that'll fit the size and dimensions of this, other than that, doesn't exist. It's a weird one, which is strange, because Gravely, well, excuse me, normally used off-the-shelf parts and bearings, which maybe when they originally designed the rack and pinion in the 70s, maybe it was a off-the-shelf bearing used a lot in the manufacturing world or something, but at this point in 2020, it's not. So, online I can find them anywhere. Amazon, you can get it for $39, but there's $9 shipping on top of that. So you're already back up into the $47 range, somewhere around along those lines anyhow. And every other place I could get them was $50, $60. I could get one from work for $46 at cost plus tax. So what the company I go through is actually called Erie Tech. It used to be Erie Bearing. Basically they got it where I could get 3 of them for I believe it was $33 a piece, with a little bit of shipping on there and tax. Came to $114 and some change, or something along those lines. So that was the cheapest I could do it, and as of right now I can use 2, so I figured 3 is not a bad idea. So now that I know about all this, guys, I really hope you guys start greasing your steerings more, because this little jewel right here won't cost you if you don't grease it, or if you don't even have all the parts to it. This is actually this is 4 parts. The outer cage, the ball in the middle. 4 parts? Where's the 4th part? Because there's a bronze bushing in here too, unless there's 2 bronze bushings. Maybe that's possible. No, I don't know. But anyhow, so they'll be here. Today's Friday, March the 6th. Sounds about right. The guy said they had them in South Carolina, and they would probably be up this way the end of next week. I told him that's fine. I don't need to put this tractor together instantly, but when you get them up there, let me know. So that's my Heim. It's actually LS8 bearing experience, and basically it doesn't cost anything. I think you could make a bearing work, because I think they put this Heim in here just so it'll move around, and it can run at an angle, but the dashes are fairly solid, so I don't know. I debated about getting like a 3/4 inside and putting a bushing in there to run on the shaft, something like that, but it's just odd, guys. It's just really odd. So, alright fellas, I'm gonna be at a total and major stopping point on this project for right now. Basically, I sold a 408 today, and the money from the 408 went directly into the bearing purchase for this project, and potentially 2 other projects. So yeah, still need a shift plate, still need a smaller battery, and I need fuel line. I don't know if I mentioned that. I put the tanks in here and put gas in them. This is actually the tank out of the Parts 400. And I knew this one didn't leak. I put it on there and then, bam, leaking. I'm like, okay, I know it has to be the fuel line. The fuel line is hard enough that if you cut it off and cut it back, it keeps splitting when you put it on the fitting. So basically both that tank and this tank are good. I just need new fuel line, which supposedly I start back to work this Monday here. Full time, I don't know. Part time, back, you know, whatever. I don't know exactly, but I start going back into work to actually do work. So I guess I'll get me some fuel line here at some point and go from there. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see everybody later. Who said get into garden tractors? They said it'll be cheaper. They said, yeah, I don't know what garden tractors you guys are into, but they ain't as cheap as you think. Although I don't really spend as much money as people think I do either. So later, gentlemen. Have a good weekend. Well, when you guys see this, it might not be a weekend. Try and put it as a Friday. Later. Alrighty, guys, I'm pretty sure I said I'd make a video when these bearings come in, and these bearings came in yesterday. Today is Thursday the 12th, would make sense. Yep. So, LS8 Heims, and here's what they're supposed to look like. So you got they are 4-piece, and I remember what they are now. The outside, the bronze, and the piece inside, and I believe there's another bushing on the back. These are actually separate bushings. And from factory, see, these have grease holes in them, and they're the whole way around. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in with the grease hole pretty much lined up, and then when that gets full of grease, it'll ooze around this direction. At least that's what it's supposed to do. So anyhow, let me get this bearing put in here, and we'll try greasing this one up and just see what a grease is like, and then I guess we'll stick it on this tractor, and I'll take the old one back off of here and put on 80. No, the bearing was bad in there too, wasn't it? So I'll change 2 of them, and then I'll check around and see what my worst one is, whether it's the G series or one of my 800s or 8000s or something. So anyhow, let me do this. I'll get back to you guys. Alrighty, guys, we'll see how this works. I haven't. Ooh, look at that! She oozed out of there pretty evenly right away. We got her the whole way around now, so now it should be nice and greasy. Alrighty, so pretty much you guys get the idea. Just slide that up on the shaft and we'll be good to go. Alrighty, guys, so here is the spherical bearing. I'll call this holder. I guess, I don't know what it's technically called anyhow, out of the 8163T here. This was originally out of the 8163B. So what I'm going to do is change this bearing. And if I'd have been more prepared, I'd have had one out of the package. But I'm not, and put in one that the centerpiece does not fall out of. Now, I'll keep this as a bit of a spare, because that is a whole lot better than nothing. as I found out, than just having the center race. But anyhow, I'll show you guys changing one of these. Hopefully I can do one on camera. The other one I did came right apart, but who knows, when you try and do something on camera, it doesn't always work that way. So let me get set up and I'll show you guys. Alrighty guys, I'm going to try and do this in one take here, but as you guys will see here, these bearings are not all that tight. This is a 3/4 socket, by the way. Hey, genius, make sure you do it the right direction. They just slide right out of there. They're not real super tight in there. Not only that, the grease flows around the outside of these bearings through this channel, and then there's two spots drilled in here, like say here and here, that the grease flows into the spherical part. And what you guys can see, the grease hole there. No, this one only has one, so right, there's one right there. Yep, there's only one grease hole in these, and of course the heater's going to kick on. Hold on a minute. Alright, heat's off. Was trying to be a little bit of semi-pro with this. So anyhow, basically you have the old bearing here, and the center is actually laying over there on the other bench where we started, clip before it, 2 clips ago. So basically, as I was saying, there is a grease hole in these where the grease goes in. It goes the whole way around it, so it doesn't matter how you put it in. And I believe I have a clip in here explaining that these were made only by Heim and by nobody else. So, and the old one, too, only has one single grease hole. Yep, only one single grease hole right there. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not on camera, but it's the thought that counts. Yeah, I think you guys can see that. Right now, since there's nothing in the center, it's see-through. Anyhow, all that aside, so pretty much what I'm going to do when I put this in here, give it the best chance on life, is I'm going to put the grease hole as close to the grease fitting hole as I can. And near as I can tell, the bearing is symmetrical both directions. It's not like it sticks out further this side or this side, so, and both sides, well, one side has writing, one side doesn't. If we put the writing up, you think it'd have less chance to get worn off? It's a theory I have. And a lot of times, you can just push these down in here by hand. Trust me, they're not going to spin. So let me grab my grease gun here, give this a shot of grease, and then I'm going to put it up in the tractor with the, I never did show the steering wheels JB welded back together, did I? I'll do that here. And just show you how it works. Hold on another minute. Alrighty guys, got the grease gun hooked up here. This grease gun has a lock and lube end on it. I got mixed reviews about that. If anybody wants to hear about it, let me know and I'll tell you. But anyhow, you can see that was only about a quarter or half pump of grease. Full pump of grease. And I got grease the whole way around. I don't know if you guys could hear like the air coming out of it or not. But what it's actually doing is it's oozing out of the backside here. See, it's not even, I don't think it's coming out of the, whoops. I don't think it's coming out of the bearing. I think it's coming from around the housing around the bearing. So, you know, you got grease the whole way around it. So pretty much, at this point we're ready to stick it up in the tractor. I might take off them smears of grease there, but who knows? Just leave it up in there. So anyhow, And the other thing I'll mention is the bolts to take this out of the tractor are kind of a strange size, at least for Gravely and things like that. The nuts are 11/16. I originally thought they were 3/4 and must just got lucky taking them out. And the bolt heads are 5/8. So that's a strange size for Gravely. The only thing on a Gravely that uses 5/8 is the lug bolts. So, alright, let's go stick this on and see how the steering works. And I'll show you guys the steering wheel. Alright guys, I said I'd show you the steering wheels, and I finally am. Maybe this episode will be all about steering. So this one here I JB welded. It seems solid. I actually had this one on the tractor a little bit. I drove it back and forth in the shop, you know, like a whole 6 feet. So I'll set that one over there. It seemed like it turned out pretty good. Even this one here, where it was broken here and here, turned out pretty well. As you guys can see, I already took a file to this one, just so that way, like, you know, you don't catch your hand on it. So I don't know which one I want to use here, because obviously they've both been repaired. This one here is ugly, but functional, near as I can tell. This one over here is better looking, but the fact that this is what was broken scares me a little bit more. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I just put one on it and drive it around for a while and see what happens? It's about all I can really do. With this one, I probably should have put some JB Weld down here too, because then it could key off of the holes in the bottom. You know, every little bit could help. Trying to look down in there and see. You guys can kind of see a hole down through it. Because I tried taking the sleeve out, and you could not get it out. I mean, it was loose. It would spin like halfway around, but it would not come out. Because what I would have liked to have done was taken the sleeve out, put some JB Weld on it, and then slid it back down in and let it set up. But I couldn't, so did the best I could. So I think I'm going to put this one on the tractor. Steering works pretty good, and the heat's about ready to kick on, so there you go. Alrighty guys, so I'm laying down here underneath the 8163T now. And everything's looking pretty good. Just kind of eyeballing some things. You guys can see the hole I had to drill there for the seat pan to mount, and where originally a seat pan would have mounted. The other thing I noticed, and I don't know if I noticed this before or not, or mentioned it, but this frame was originally manual lift. You can see the outline there for the manual lift latch. So I just figured that was mildly entertaining. You can kind of tell like the pins for the ram are not from this frame, and the lift shaft. So aside from that, I think it'd be pretty hard to tell this apart. I got the new steering bearing and everything all installed. Okay. So I already broke the first steering wheel that the hub was loose in the center. And the other one I seem to have fixed seems to be holding up rather well, at least the testing in the shop I'm doing. It'd have been nicer if I had the tripod, but it seems like this steering wheel here is holding up better overall. And for curiosity's sake, can I zoom in on it from here? Probably not. Show you guys the serial number for this thing. Looks like 3 zeros, 348, 250. Which when I looked it up made it a 1978 frame. So originally this was probably a late... I'll show you guys my face. I'm laying on the ground right now. But probably originally a late 800, but I made it into an early 8000. What the hey? does it really matter? Nah. Just like I said, a few little quirk details. So at this point, I am back to the fuel line and the battery, which after 2 weeks of looking for that bearing, I have done I have had no forward progress. That's the word I'm looking for. No forward progress. So, that being said, I could steal the battery out of the 818, buy a new battery for the 818. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. And then that would kind of solve two birds with one stone. The battery in the 818, I had been noticing if you leave it sit for a while, it seemed like it was low. It wasn't dead, but it was low. You'd have to jump it with something else. Yeah. So yeah, I just don't know. Don't know, guys. But that's where I'm at. And I really don't feel like getting up. It's actually, today's actually March 14th, which is actually my birthday, guys. So, by the point you guys see this, and judging by the way the videos are laying out on the computer, this is going to be part, either part 8 or part 9, I don't remember. I edited part 8 this morning, so I'm going to say this is part 9. Perhaps early part 10, but I'm going to say part 9. So I'm going to say you guys probably won't see this video until 14th, another 7 days, say the 23rd probably. Sound about right? That'd be a Monday, I think. Plus, I have a whole bunch of other little videos and stuff I've been working on in between this, which may go in its own video, just random stuff. And yeah, figure I'd just keep you guys up to date at some point here. And at some point, I'll get this project finished. Now I'm just down to the details. I got to get stuff for it. Fuel line and battery. That's what I'm down to. Fuel line and battery. And one last and final thing. I was kind of eyeballing this the one day, but the battery box actually sticks out here or something. So that would be enough to keep the hood from shutting. I can cut or grind that down. It does it on both sides. So actually the battery doesn't stick out past, it's the battery box. Yep. So anyhow, enough of me talking. Hit everything with the grease gun down here and ran the steering back and forth a couple times. I did not have the hood on, Mr. Hood Police, you know who you are. But I have not driven it. So. Okay, later, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's too nice too. Later, guys.